What's going on, everyone? My name's AJ, and today we're going to be reviewing the Nike Air Force 1 Low Retro. So this shoe retails for $150, but I was able to cop it from Nike Direct for about $79, which was a great deal. And this is the first time I've seen a retro for an Air Force 1. Apparently it's the 40th anniversary of Air Force 1's retro version of it. So this is from 2022, and it is the 40th year anniversary of the Air Force 1. So as far as the box and the packaging, it comes with this retro style box celebrating that 40th anniversary of the Air Force 1, whereas the other Air Force 1s typically come in like a black Air Force 1 box. It'll say like Nike swoosh and then Nike Air Force 1 07 or just some Air Force 1 branding on there. But this has an old school style box, or just a typical Nike box that you see, where it just has the orange and then some of the brown and then the Nike swoosh on the lid, and there's orange all around, and on the side of the lid as well it just says "just do it," and the box label says Air Force 1 Low Retro, and the colorway is white/white-white. Once we open the box itself, this shoe actually has two types of tissue paper. It has a specially branded Nike tissue paper, and I did see something that said C. Hopkins on the tissue paper itself, which looked really awesome. I think that they started doing this in 2022. I think that C. Hopkins is probably someone on their product team at Nike. Nonetheless, a great tribute to that person or whoever is at Nike designing this tissue paper. So we'll see in other reviews that I have, this tissue paper is actually more common in a lot of shoes. So it comes in this tissue paper that just has Nike, and then it says Air Force 1 on the whole area, and it has a basketball that says C. Hopkins, a bunch of waves, and we're on a beach, so it seems pretty cozy. And then it does come with this traditional tissue paper, which is not as exciting. And as we get to the shoe itself, this does have an Air Force 1 tag on it, which kind of matches the tissue paper, and it has a bunch of text and diagrams about the shoe itself. So it has a Nike swoosh on there, and it says, "A shoe so revolutionary, the world has never been the same." And then it says "since 1982." And on the other side, there's a diagram with an Air Force 1. Funnily enough, the diagram actually isn't a denotion of this Air Force 1. It actually has a Air Force 1 07 on it. You can tell by the back tab where it just has that Nike Air logo and just a bunch of other details basically. But nonetheless, it has a lot of denotions on there. And it says Piva sockline foam, molded sock liner for comfort, full grain leather upper for premium feel and added durability, variable width lacking system, adjustable for a snug, comfortable fit, Nike Air cup sole, rubber cup sole houses an airbag embedded in the midsole for ultimate underfoot comfort, and lastly, the concentric circle outsole for optimum traction and minimal resistance on the pivot. So that was the hang tag itself. And as you can see here, the hang tag matches the tissue paper with the sky there, and it just has some denotion on there that says Nike Inc. and then the address of the Beaverton, Oregon headquarters. And there is another hang tag as well. Well, not really a hang tag, but more so this brush that says "since 1982" and has a Nike swoosh. You can either brush your teeth with it or clean your Air Force 1s with it. But I think that this tag and this cleaning brush is a really nice nod for the 40th year anniversary of the Air Force 1. So this Air Force 1 has the same materials that you would see in like the Air Force 1 07. Has basically a leather upper, rubber midsole and outsole. And I did see some imperfections on my pair, specifically some of the holes where the leather is. As you can see, the hole is open there. Sorry for my cut. And then right here, they actually have some excess leather that this hole should be visible, but there's some leather in there. Not too worried about it. It's still a nice shoe. Compared to the 07, I'm definitely gonna say that this leather feels a little bit softer and a little bit more premium, even though I got this for a cheaper price. But I could see how it is priced a little higher than the regular Air Force 1. This retailed at $150, but the leather does actually feel a little nicer than just the regular Nike Air Force 1s. And as far as the insole goes, it just has Nike Air on there on a white insole. And you're probably looking at this shoe and being like, what is the main differences between this shoe, the 40th anniversary Air Force 1 Retro, and a Nike Air Force 1 Low 07 Air Force 1 that you can just buy anywhere? And there are a few key differences between this Air Force 1 and the 07 Air Force 1. This 40th anniversary Air Force 1 has a nod to the actual anniversary, where you can't really see it. It says Nike Air and then Air Force 1. So it says anniversary edition on the tongue. On the back, it also has a denotion of embroidery where it says Nike and Air in really, really big font, where typically you would see Nike Air Force 1 with that logo on the back. And another difference is that there's a swoosh embroidery right above the toe box, along with no lace lock. So the Air Force 107 would would have a lace lock and typically have no swoosh embroidery on the front, whereas this one is a little bit more simple. I don't know if you could make an Air Force One more simple, but this one is definitely more muted and not like the regular Air Force One 07s that you would typically see. So as far as the sizing and the fit, a lot of people say size half the size down. I personally bought these true to size and they still fit me pretty well. I would say that they are relatively comfortable, and different leathers fit differently as far as the materials on shoes, but also you trying them on as a consumer. And I did see a lot of memes about the Air Force One and sizing them. Shout out to Matt Welty from Full Size Run. He had something about one of the family members at Tiffany wearing the Tiffany Air Force One and how he bought it not knowing the sizing and everything. But in all seriousness, I think that this shoe is relatively comfortable, easy to size. You could probably try on an Air Force One and this one will probably fit you the same way. And I do think that methodology still applies for almost anything. If you try these on in store and you get a chance to, or any other Air Force One, this is probably going to fit the same way. But it should be a leather Air Force One. I wouldn't try a suede Air Force One on because it may fit different based on the suede compared to this just leather. So if you get a chance to, probably try on an Air Force One 07 and this one will probably fit the same way. And I did wear these shoes with just some sweatpants. I think they'd look super dope with shorts, but they are an Air Force One, so they go well with anything. Not the hardest thing to wear in the world, as long as you just don't get them dirty. Maybe Nike knew that they didn't want you to cook them. Cook is slang for like mess up. You don't want to mess up your shoes, so just clean them and make sure they're good to go and not cooked. Now onto the pros. I'm gonna say that my first pro is that I got a great deal on these shoes. I got them for under $80. I think it came out to $79, and I'm super excited about that because I wear Air Force Ones a lot and I really like just having a fresh pair, even though you could probably clean them, especially with the brush now, right? But if you see these on sale, they're definitely a good cop and probably gonna be available in your local factory store, maybe retail store, but also online. And that's another pro of mine. This shoe is really easy to cop. It's readily available, and even though this one, the 40th anniversary Air Force One Low Retro, does retail at $150, you could probably go on StockX or go and get these for well under $110, if not closer to $100, which is well below the MSRP. And who knows, maybe you could go on eBay or some local forum and get it for even cheaper. But I was thankful enough to get these for under $80 from Nike Direct. And my last pro is that this is kind of a stretch pro, but this is an alternate to the Nike Air Force One 07. So say you have a good deal on this shoe and you don't want to spend, let's say, the retail price for a Nike Air Force One, which is probably a little bit over $100 with tax. This is always great to have. No one's gonna tell the difference that it doesn't have a lace lock, has an embroidered swoosh on the front, and it says Nike Air on the back tab, unless someone has a magnifying glass and is really checking out your outfits. But in all seriousness, this is still a great Air Force One compared to the 07, which is probably the most noteworthy Air Force One at the moment. But in all honesty, as popular as that Air Force One is compared to this 40th anniversary version, no one's gonna, like I said earlier, get a magnifying glass to see if the tongue is right and think that these are fake or just not as cool as the regular Air Force One, because from far away it just is legitimately an Air Force One, and some people won't notice those details. And that's my only con, that this shoe isn't the Air Force One 07, it's the Retro. So the minor details like the back tab, like the lack of a lace lock, the embroidery on the front, and the tongue may be a deal breaker for some. But if you're getting the shoe for under $100, I mean, it is a Nike Air Force One, so I don't want to be too dramatic with it. But some folks, if they're real Air Force One aficionados and only strictly wear 07s, by all means do you. And if that's the case and you don't really like these, just add the lace lock from the 07, but people are still gonna know because there's embroidered swoosh there. But that's a con for some, but I think for many, they're gonna still enjoy this shoe if they receive it and if they rock it, because it is the same thing. But in all seriousness, not many people would notice the difference between this shoe and the regular 07 Air Force One. All in all, the Nike Air Force One Low Retro is a slight variation of the Nike Air Force One 07 with a different box, tissue paper, and embroidered details, along with those two keychains, whether it's the tag itself or that toothbrush, that cleaning brush just for the brush. I'm not gonna brush my teeth with this brush, and a lot of goodies that make this shoe a little bit more unique compared to a regular Air Force 107, but still it's technically the same shoe with just a little bit of variation, but still a great shoe in its own right, just a little bit different than the newest versions. But what do you guys think about this shoe? Leave a comment below. Once again, my name's AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, or even notification bell. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let go. Peace. Live yours.